So this is my code for the second project, the water utility company project. So starting off, we're going to get the user code from the user. I'm gonna assign that to variable one. Then we're going to have the user input the beginning meter reading. Gonna assign that to variable two. And then we're going to have the user input the ending meter reading. And then we're gonna assign that to variable three. Both variable 2 and variable 3 are integer inputs, and then there's space after this colon, so that way the first number in both of these inputs lines up. So then we're going to have an if statement to determine if variable 2, aka the beginning meter reading, is greater than variable 3, aka the ending meter reading. If so, variable 3 will be reassigned with the value of variable 3 plus 1 billion. If this is false, then both values then pass, and then both of these values will be passed beyond this point as is. So gallons and gallons 2 both equal variable 2 minus variable 1 times negative 1 divided by 10. And the reason why we multiply by negative 1 is because this will always be a negative number because you're subtracting a bigger number from a smaller number. So we multiply by negative 1 in order to make the number of gallons of water used positive, and then we divide by 10 so that we can shift the decimal point to the left one space. So then we define the first function, which is going to be used for someone using the resident code, which is a lower or uppercase r. So for function calc1, bill equals 5 plus 0.0005 times gallons, and then return the value of bill. Then we're going to define the second function to calculate the water bill for someone using the commercial code, which is lower or uppercase c. So for function calc2, if gallons 2 is less than or equal to 4 million, bill equals 1,000. Else if gallons 2 is greater than or equal to 4 million, bill equals 1,000 plus 0.00025 times gallons, and then return the value of bill. And last, we were going to have define the third function to calculate the water bill for someone using the industrial code, which is a lower or uppercase I. And so for function calc3, if gallons 2 is less than or equal to 4 million, bill equals 1,000. Else if gallons 2 is greater than or equal to 4 million and gallons 2 is less than or equal to 10 million, aka if gallons 2 is between 4 million and 10 million, bill equals 2,000. And else if gallons 2 is greater than 10 million, bill equals 2,000 plus 0.00025 times gallons, return the value of bill. So then we're going to write an if statement to check for the residential code, call the appropriate calculation, and print the results. If variable 1 is equal to lowercase r or variable 1 is equal to uppercase r, call calc1, bill equals 0, bill equals the returned value from calc1. Couple of empty print statements in order to create some space between our original input statements and these output statements. So they'll then print customer code colon and then variable 1, aka the user's code, print beginning meter reading colon variable 2, their beginning meter reading, print ending meeting reader colon with some spaces in order to make the two numbers line up, variable 3, their ending meter reading, gallons of water used colon, and then format gallons so that way it only prints to one space after the decimal, and then print amount billed colon, and then format bill so that it has a $sign in the beginning and it prints two spaces after the decimal, and then end with process finished with exit code 0. Write in if statement to check for commercial. Then we're going to write in statement to check for commercial code and call the appropriate calculation and print the results. So else if variable 1 is equal to lowercase c or variable 1 is equal to uppercase C, call calc2, bill equals 0, bill equals calc2, and then all of this is exactly the same. Then we're going to have a third else if statement to check for the industrial code, call the appropriate calculation, and print the results. So else if variable 1 is equal to lowercase I or variable 1 is equal to uppercase I, call calc3, bill equals 0, bill equals calc3, and then all of this is the same again. And then lastly, we have an if statement to check for invalid codes and print the results. So else if variable 1 is not equal to lowercase r or variable 1 is not equal to uppercase R or variable 1 is not equal to C or variable 1 is not equal to uppercase C or variable 1 is not equal to lowercase I or variable 1 is not equal to uppercase I. So aka else if variable 1 is not equal to upper or lowercase r, c, or I, then we set the value of gallons to 0, we set the value of bill to 0, and then print all of this stuff again. So if I run it and I input the customer's code as R, input this digit as the beginning meter reading, and input this digit as the ending meter reading, we see that we get the output customer code :R, beginning meter reading, that digit, ending meter reading, same digit, gallons of water used, 13.2 gallons, amount billed, $5.01, and the process is finished with exit code 0. And it also works if I input a capital R and the same digits. Oh, that's because I mistyped. I missed a digit. So you see we get the same values as up here, same digits, 13.2 gallons, $5.01. I missed a 0 here. That's why it came up with this number. And then if I were to input the commercial code and then input this digit, see that we get the customer code is C, the beginning meter reading is this digit, the ending meter reading is this digit but with a 1 at the beginning, because since this digit is less than this, 1 billion was added to this, so now it's 1 billion plus this, which is 5, so it's 1 billion and 5. And so we get the gallons of water used is 0.8 gallons, and the amount billed is $1,000. And it works the same if I were to input a capital C and the same digits. Let me just make sure I'm putting this in right. See that we get the same value, same digits. And then if I were to put in an invalid code such as T, and I were to put in the digits from the first problem, you'll see that we get the answer invalid entry. Customer code was T, which is invalid. Beginning meter reading, ending meter reading, same values as right here. And then gallons of water used is 0, and the amount billed is 0 because you inputted an invalid code. So we can't calculate what you how much you used or what you owe if you didn't input a valid code. So since T is not a valid code, it is not a C, R, or I, you get invalid entry and these values equal to 0.